Everyone remembers my childhood differently than I do. I don't really know how to say this without sounding ungrateful or like I'm just fishing for sympathy, but something's been bothering me for a while now. Lately, it feels like my childhood doesn't actually belong to me. Whenever my family talks about the old days, it's like they're describing a house I never lived in. Same address, same people, completely different experience. They remember being happy, noisy, and always joking around. What I remember is very different experience. I remember being scared. At family gatherings, it always comes up eventually. Someone will start reminiscing, my parents will jump in, my aunts will fill in gaps, and everyone nods along like we're all rewatching the same home movie. Except I don't recognize most of it. They talk about our house like it was always full of laughter. They say I was always smiling, so confident, such a happy kid. My mom loves that phrase, happy kid. I don't remember being happy. What I remember is sitting halfway up the stairs at night, not moving, listening for footsteps. I remember the way my stomach would tighten when voices got louder. I remember learning really early on how to stay quiet and still so I wouldn't draw attention to myself. I didn't even know I was doing that at the time. It just felt safer. When I try to bring any of this up, the mood changes instantly. My mom says, "You're remembering it wrong." My dad says, "You had a great childhood, better than most people." My sister laughs and says, "You were dramatic even back then." And maybe I was. I've gone back and forth on that a lot. Maybe I was just anxious. Maybe I was too sensitive. Maybe I took normal family tension and turned it into something bigger in my head. I really wanted to believe that. But then I started noticing something else that I can't explain away so easily. Their memories don't just feel emotionally different from mine. They're factually different. They talk about birthday parties I genuinely don't remember happening, vacations I have zero memory of, friends they insist were over all the time, even though I can't picture a single one of them. When I say that out loud, everyone goes quiet. Not angry, not defensive, just quiet. They exchange these looks with each other, the kind of looks people give when they're silently agreeing not to say something. Last month, my aunt told a story about how I used to hide in my room during family visits and refused to come out unless my mom coaxed me. Everyone laughed like it was a cute quirk. I felt my whole body lock up. Because I don't remember hiding. I remember being told not to come out. I asked my aunt what she meant. She paused, clearly confused, like she was trying to remember the right version of the story. She said, "You know, you just didn't like noise." Before I could respond, my mom cut in way too fast and said, "She's mixing things up." That was it. Conversation moved on, like nothing strange had happened. But I couldn't shake it. That night I went home and cried, and I honestly couldn't explain why. I just felt hollow, disoriented, like the ground under me had shifted slightly, and I was the only one who noticed. If everyone else remembers happiness and I remember fear, then what does that mean? Am I wrong? Or is it possible that we're all remembering the same childhood, just from very different sides of the door? And why does it feel like they're all quietly protecting the same version of the past, and I'm the only one who doesn't know why?
I keep having the same conversation, and I don't think it's a coincidence anymore. I'm not even sure this belongs here.
but I can't think of another way to explain it without sounding weird. There's a conversation I've had over and over again. Not in a "this reminds me of something" way. I mean the same setup, the same question, the same weird feeling afterward. It always happens at the same coffee shop near my apartment. Nothing special about it. Slightly burnt espresso smell, indie music that's always too quiet to recognize, one of the window tables that wobbles if you lean on it wrong. Late afternoon, when the sun hits the glass just enough to make everything look a little washed out. Sometimes the person sitting across from me is different. A date, a new friend, a coworker I didn't know very well yet. But the conversation always bends the same way. There's a pause. They stir their drink. They look at me in that careful way people do when they're about to ask something that feels personal. So, how are you really doing? The first time it happened, I didn't think twice. I told the truth. I said I wasn't okay, that I felt kind of lost, that some days I didn't recognize my own life, and that scared me. They leaned back in their chair, not dramatically, just enough. Their smile tightened. A few seconds later, they changed the subject to work or traffic or something meaningless. We finished our drinks, said we should do this again sometime. We didn't. When it happened again weeks later, I remember feeling a strange sense of déjà vu, but I brushed it off. Same shop, same question, different person. This time I said I was fine. Busy, tired, but fine. The difference was immediate. Their shoulders relaxed. They smiled for real. We stayed longer. They texted me that night. We hung out again. That's when the pattern started bothering me. After that, I couldn't unsee it. Every time the question came up, it felt like the entire interaction balanced on my answer. If I was honest, really honest, things wrapped up shortly after. If I kept it light, people lingered, followed up, stayed in my life at least a little longer. Once I tried to split the difference. I made a joke, turned it into something self-deprecating but harmless. They laughed, nodded. The conversation kept going, but it never deepened. We drifted apart naturally after that. At some point, it started feeling less like coincidence and more like, I don't know, a test. Like I was picking dialogue options without realizing it. I'd catch myself rehearsing answers in my head when I walked into the cafe, wondering which version of me would be easier to keep around. The realization that finally messed me up came quietly. I wasn't stuck reliving the same conversation because time was looping. I was reliving it because I kept meeting new people, and none of them stayed long enough to move past that moment. Same question, same turning point, different faces. And now that I think about it, I can't remember most of their names, or what they looked like, or what we talked about before or after. All I remember is that pause, that question, and the version of myself I chose to give them. People treat me better when I lie about my life. I didn't mean to start lying about my life. It honestly just happened. It started with small stuff, like background info. The kind of things people ask when they're getting to know you and you don't want to make it awkward. Someone asked where I grew up. I said a different city, a nicer one people have good opinions about. They got more interested right away, asked questions, told me it sounded fun. I remember walking home after that thinking, that went better than usual. So I did it again. When people asked about my job, I made it sound more put together than it is. Not a full lie, just edited. Like I had a plan. Like I chose this. People reacted better. They smiled more. They actually listened. They treated me like I was someone with momentum. When I told the truth, that my childhood was kind of messy, that my family situation is complicated, that I don't really know what I'm doing, people got uncomfortable fast. They'd say, "Oh," in that quiet voice, and then change the subject. Or worse, they'd get weirdly sympathetic and distant. It felt like I killed the vibe just by being honest. So I stopped being honest. I built a version of my life that was easier to hear, cleaner, less sad, less confusing. And people liked that version a lot more than they ever liked the real one. Here's the thing though, lying like that messes with your head. After a while, I had to pause before answering questions. Not to come up with a lie, but to remember which story I usually tell. Sometimes I'd be talking and think, wait, did this actually happen to me? And then it finally backfired. I was on a date with someone I actually liked, like really liked. We'd been talking for weeks. I'd been using the edited version of my life the whole time. At one point they said, "You know, it's funny. My cousin grew up in the same city you did." My stomach dropped. They started naming places, schools, local stuff, asking casual questions I should have been able to answer. I laughed it off at first, said I didn't really go out much, said I moved around. But I could tell. The energy shifted. They looked confused, then a little guarded. Later that night, they asked me straight up, "Hey, have you been lying to me?" I said no, which, honestly, felt worse than the original lie. They didn't yell, they didn't make a scene. They just said, "I don't think I really know you." And that was it. We stopped talking after that. I went home and sat on my bed for a long time, just replaying everything. Not even mad at them, just embarrassed and tired. Now I don't know how to stop. The fake version of my life gets me friends, dates, invitations. The real version gets polite silence. I don't know if people treat me better because of the lies, or if I learned early on that the truth about me is just too much for most people. And that sucks to admit. I realized my memories don't line up with reality. I started noticing it with small stuff, objects, physical things, like a scar on my left arm. I know I got it when I was a kid. Fell off a bike, cried for an hour. My mom yelled at me for bleeding on the floor. I can picture it so clearly. The scar is gone. Not faded, not lighter, just not there. Then there was the dent in my bedroom door. I remember slamming it during a huge fight in high school. I even remember feeling embarrassed every time I saw it afterward. The door is perfectly smooth. At first I told myself, okay, memory is trash sometimes. People forget things. Brains fill in gaps, whatever. Then it stopped being objects. It started being people. A few months ago, I ran into someone at a cafe. The second I saw them, my chest did that thing where it tightens because you recognize someone before your brain catches up. We had dated. I was sure of it. I remembered late-night arguments, inside jokes, the way they used to steal fries off my plate. I remembered how it ended. So I smiled and said their name. They froze. Then they smiled back, awkward and polite, and said, "I think you have me confused with someone else." The way they said it wasn't mean. It was gentle, almost apologetic. I laughed and played it off, said, "Yeah, sorry, my bad." But my stomach dropped all the way to the floor. Later that night, I checked everything. Messages, photos, tagged posts, old accounts I barely use anymore. Nothing. No trace we'd ever met. This started happening more. Memories that felt solid had zero proof behind them. Here's where I messed up. I started lying. Nothing huge, just little things to test myself. I'd tell friends stories I remembered happening and watch their reactions. If they nodded along, I felt relieved. If they looked confused, I'd double down. The backfire happened during a group hangout. I told a story about a weekend trip we supposedly all took together a few years ago. I remembered details, where we stayed, who got sick, the dumb argument over food. Everyone went quiet. One friend said, "That never happened." I laughed and said, "Yeah, it did. You just don't remember." They pulled out their phone, showed me photos from that exact weekend. All of them were somewhere else, together, without me. That's when it hit me. I wasn't just misremembering. I was inventing myself into places I'd never been. I brought this up to my therapist and asked her straight up if memory could fabricate entire relationships, entire events. She paused. Not a long pause, just long enough. That pause messed me up more than any answer could have. Now I write everything down. Dates, names, what people say, what I say back. Not because I want to remember more, but because I'm scared that one day I'll look at my life and realize parts of it never happened. And worse, that I won't know which parts those are. I'm scared of how easy it is for me to disappear. Throughout the story, I'll be calling myself as Jade. I used to think disappearing had to be dramatic, like running away in the middle of the night, blocking everyone, reinventing yourself somewhere new. But it turns out, it's way quieter than that. It started small. I stopped texting first. Group chats kept moving without me. No, "Where'd you go?" No check-ins. Just messages stacking on messages like I'd never been there. I told myself it was fine. People are busy. I didn't want to be annoying anyway. Then I deleted my social media. A couple people noticed. One friend DM'd, "Did you get hacked?" Another asked if I was doing a detox thing. I said, "Yeah, just a break." After that, nothing. I took a week off work and didn't announce it. No out-of-office post, no explanation. When I came back, no one asked how it was. No, "Hope you're feeling better." Just, "Hey, can you send that file?" That's when the fear really settled in. Not panic, not sadness, something colder, heavier. I started wondering how long it would actually take for people to forget me. Not in a tragic missing person way, just naturally. Like I slowly stopped coming up in conversation. Like my name doesn't land anymore. Here's the part where I lied. A friend texted me after a few days of silence and asked, "Yo, Jade, you okay? Haven't seen you around." I wanted to be honest. I wanted to say, "I'm scared no one would notice if I vanished." Instead, I said, "Yeah, I've just been super busy." They replied, "Ah, okay, same, LOL." And that was it. No follow-up, no checking in later. The lie worked too well. Later that week, There was a small get-together I usually get invited to. I only found out because someone posted about it afterward. In the comments, someone said, "We should have invited everyone." Another replied, "I thought Jade moved or something." Moved. I was still here. Same city, same number, same job. I just hadn't been reminding anyone. That messed me up more than being intentionally excluded. I started thinking about how easy it would be to actually disappear. Move cities without telling anyone. Change my number. Let conversations die instead of saving them. Let memories fade because I wasn't there to refresh them. And the scariest part? It wouldn't take effort. I wouldn't have to fight my way out of anyone's life. I'd just have to stop holding myself in place. Sometimes I think about how many people are only remembered because they keep reaching out, posting updates, showing up, sending "just checking in" texts. And I wonder what happens when someone gets tired of doing that. Not because they hate anyone, just because they're tired.